He looked nothing like the man people thought they knew. No signature smile, no polished image. Just an older man, moving quietly through a normal day, almost invisible. And yet, for decades, millions believed he was the definition of strength. The kind of man who never broke, never failed, never doubted. But that version? It was never the whole story. Because behind the calm face the world admired, there was a life filled with silence, sacrifice, and regrets no one ever saw coming. People once believed he was perfect, a symbol of integrity, a hero who always did the right thing. No scandals, no chaos, just steady, unshakable presence. But the truth was far more complicated. At the height of his fame, while audiences were celebrating him, his personal life was quietly falling apart. A marriage ended behind closed doors. Nights became longer, emptier. The applause faded the moment he stepped away from the spotlight, and what remained was silence. Before any of that, he was just a quiet boy growing up in a modest home. Tall, awkward, unsure of himself. The kind of kid who didn't chase attention. In fact, he avoided it. He never dreamed of becoming an actor. His path was supposed to be simple. Sports, maybe business. Something stable, predictable. But life rarely follows the script we imagine. One small suggestion changed everything. A teacher casually encouraged him to try acting. No big speech. No dramatic moment. Just a passing comment. And somehow that was enough. But just as things began to shift, life interrupted again. He was called to serve during a tense and divided time. He wore the uniform with pride, only to return home and face something he never expected. Not gratitude. Judgment. He wasn't welcomed back as a hero. Instead, he was labeled, misunderstood, blamed for something far bigger than himself. That experience stayed with him. It shaped the way he saw the world and the way he carried himself moving forward. When he finally stepped into the entertainment industry, success didn't come quickly. Years passed. Small roles. Forgettable appearances. Faces came and went, but he remained stuck in the background. To most people, he was just another familiar face, one they couldn't quite name. But behind that quiet persistence, something was building. Then, finally, everything changed. One role, one opportunity, and suddenly, he wasn't invisible anymore. He became the face everyone recognized. A character people trusted. Someone who represented courage, humor, and heart all at once. But even at that moment, when it seemed like he had finally made it, life presented him with a choice. A different opportunity appeared. Bigger, riskier, the kind that could redefine a career forever. And he turned it down. Not because he didn't want it, but because he had already given his word elsewhere. In an industry built on ambition and opportunity, he chose loyalty instead. That decision defined him more than any role ever could. And when his show finally aired, it didn't just succeed, it exploded. It became something bigger than entertainment. It changed how people saw certain kinds of stories, certain kinds of men. For the first time, audiences saw strength without bitterness. A man shaped by hardship, but not broken by it. It was powerful, and people connected with it deeply. But success comes with its own weight. Behind the scenes, the loneliness didn't disappear. The pressure didn't fade. If anything, it grew heavier. And just as his career reached new heights, his personal life took another hit. His marriage ended quietly. No public drama. No headlines. Just distance, and a house that felt too big, too empty. Yet even through that, there was one role he never walked away from. Being a father. He chose to stay present. To support from the shadows. No spotlight. No recognition. Just consistency. Even when things weren't easy. And when challenges came, because they always do, he didn't defend himself publicly. He didn't argue. He didn't explain. He stayed silent. Not out of weakness, but out of choice. Because sometimes, protecting the people you love means saying less, not more. If this story is hitting you in a way you didn't expect, take a moment to share it with someone who might need it too. You never know who's quietly carrying their own battles. As the years passed, he found something rare in his world. Stability. A new relationship. A family life built away from the noise. He stepped back when it mattered most. Chose presence over fame. Time over attention. He built a life that wasn't meant for cameras. But even then, life wasn't without its storms. Criticism came. Controversies followed. Decisions were questioned. And once again, people who once admired him began to step back. But his response never changed. No loud defenses. No public fights, just quiet distance. That's who he was. Not perfect, not flawless, but consistent. In a world that rewards noise, he chose restraint. In a culture that demands explanations, he chose privacy. And maybe that's why people never fully understood him, because he never tried to explain everything. Years later, when he finally began to reflect on his life, something surprising happened. He didn't write about victories. He wrote about doubt, about mistakes, about moments where he felt lost, about the pressure of being seen one way, while feeling something completely different inside. He admitted to things people never expected. Temptations, regrets, choices he wished he had handled differently. Not to shock anyone, but to be honest for the first time. Because after decades of being seen as the strong one, he wanted people to understand the truth. Strength isn't about never falling. It's about continuing, even when no one sees the struggle. Today, his life is quieter than ever. No constant spotlight. No need to prove anything. Just routine, discipline, simple work. The kind of life many people overlook, but few truly understand. And maybe that's the real story here. Not the fame, not the roles, not the image people held onto for years, but the man behind it all. A man who chose integrity over opportunity, silence over noise, and consistency over perfection. Because in the end, what people remember isn't always what matters most. It's not the image. It's the choices made when no one is watching. So maybe the next time you see someone who looks like they have it all together, remember this. You're probably only seeing half the story. If this story changed the way you see things, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that even the strongest people carry unseen battles.